Hey guys, welcome back to the Isaac Huerta Show. Today, I am here with Abigail Perez, a close friend. Well, she's become a really close friend of mine. Literally, we met about less than 2 months ago, and she has become one of my closest friends, both I would say in the dance community, but also just in life in general. And I'll be honest, Abby, I've just been having such a great time getting to know you and doing things together. And I just feel that, you're one of those individuals that I feel that life, God places in your life for a very specific reason. And it almost feels like you've known this person for a long time. I don't know what it is, but I feel like we've both just been finding ways to collaborate, to laugh a lot,
Yes.
and to just do life. So I'm very thankful for your friendship. I'll start with that. I'm being honest about that, even though it's been such a short time. But I want to thank you again for being here, making time out of your busy schedule. And I'm excited to talk today. You have so much experience in the dancing world. For how long have you been in the dancing slash salsa slash bachata community? If you can just give the audience an overview of where you come from and how you started in the dancing world.
I get this question a lot.
Yes.
And my favorite answer is I came out of my mother's womb dancing.
You did tell me that.
Yes, because I really did. I have been dancing. I was that kid where, whether it was at family parties or anywhere, just at home, at the store, I was dancing, I was moving, I was wiggling. I would start family weddings. You know when people are like not drunk enough to be like, let me get out on the dance floor?
Yeah.
I would just start parties, whether it was family or not.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until high school, I think I actually started taking hip hop classes.
Okay.
So I started off in hip hop and I did that for a while. I think my junior year, going into senior year of high school, for that summer, I did like a summer intensive type kind of summer camp thing where it was, I believe, 6, maybe 8 weeks of jazz, ballet, hip hop, and contemporary.
Wow.
And after that, I kind of kept doing hip hop for a little bit. After high school, though, is kind of when I slowed down. I didn't really dance much until a few years later, maybe my early 20s. I took a couple heels classes, and then I didn't continue that very regularly. And then I found salsa. I found salsa going to celebrate my friend's birthday at the Lighthouse Cafe. They had a salsa night there, and I took the beginner class. And I remember thinking after the class was over and watching everyone social dance, I had never seen anything like that before. And I thought, this would be so fun. Like, I hope someone asked me to dance because I just wanted to dance. Thankfully, someone did. And then I didn't stop after that. And I've been dancing ever since, but mainly just socially. I didn't really take any of my first salsa classes until late last year. So really, I'm mostly self-taught, but really I'm taught by all the leaders and dancers before me.
Yeah, that's something that you have told me a lot about, how you are self-taught. Mm-hmm. And I feel that you do take pride on that, but at the same time, I feel that it stops you sometimes from doing certain things that we can talk about. Mm-hmm. But what does that mean to you being self-taught, and how do you feel about that, and why did you decide to not hire anybody, and what does that mean to you, and how does that play into whether you recommend people to hire somebody, take classes, or look, this works because of this?
Yeah. You're right. I am a little bit prideful about it just because I'm self-taught in not only dance, but as you know, in a lot of other creative pursuits. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why that is. I don't know where I get that skill from. I think it's just in me to be this creative person who can kind of figure things out on her own. So yeah, I do carry a little bit of pride with that. But I know that not everyone is capable of doing that. So I don't always recommend people to just be like, oh yeah, go dance, go social dance. You'll figure it out like I did. Because not everybody learns that way.
Yeah.
But even from the very first time I went social dancing, I know I'm not the best and there was a lot lacking, but if you were anyone who really weren't in the dancing and you look at that video, you'd think that I was a salsa dancer, at least at a very beginner level, even from the first day. And so because of that, I thought, well, I'm already picking things up so quickly. Like, why do I need to take a class? Honestly, I also didn't even know that was a thing. I thought, I just saw the class before the social and then I just started dancing. I didn't know you can take private classes. I didn't know there were instructors for this. For about the first 4 years of my salsa dancing journey, I didn't even know that there was a whole community of salsa. I was completely unaware of the world of salsa. So I just didn't even think about it. I'm kind of that person where I'm just like, well, I'm here and I'm happy and like, the rest will come when it comes, and
Yeah.
it all eventually it did, right? But I just never thought of that because I wasn't aware. You don't know what you don't know. But although I do take pride, there's also another side where I feel like I know that I'm not technically trained. And that also gets in my head sometimes because I see, other friends who have learned through taking classes and I feel like their technique is really good or they have really good styling. And it makes me think sometimes like, man, I should probably get into a class. And why I still don't, I don't know. But I think it's just a different style. Some people really need that guidance.
Yeah.
And I've always just been able to kind of look at something and try and replicate it until I figure it out.
The way that you approached salsa dancing is very different from the way that I approached it, which was right from the get-go. I hired somebody to come to my house and teach me and my friends. I put a little group together of about 8 people. And I hired Shannon, who's still my one-on-one instructor, and we would come every Thursday, I believe, to my house and we would practice. And that's how this was 6 months ago in October. And yeah, 5 months ago. And that's how I was introduced into proper dancing. But I remember thinking, I'm at a point in my life where I feel that I don't want to go through the learning curve of learning things unless I feel that it's super necessary. And for example, my business, sometimes I do put myself in a situation where, okay, I need to learn the basics so that when I delegate it, I know what I should expect from people. But there are certain things where I'm just thinking to myself, I want to learn as quickly as possible because I thought that the fun part was, when I looked at videos or when I went out to dancing, I would look at people who didn't know how to dance and I would feel for them because I was in that position too, where you don't feel confident to get on the dance floor. Other people are dancing and having fun, and it looks really great. And as a man, if you see another man that is dancing with so many different women, you kind of want that. You're like, man, I wish I knew how to dance like that. That's what being a good salsa dancer gives you. But I just wanted to learn as quickly as possible. My group fell off. Like we stopped maybe after 2 months because the holidays came. It was, October, holidays came and people were traveling. And when the new year came, I tried to put together the group again. But unfortunately, the energy wasn't there anymore. We lost momentum. And I said, well, I wanted to continue to learn and I didn't want to be waiting for people. So I told Shannon, hey, I'm still interested in doing one-on-one classes with you. So since the beginning of the year, I've been taking one-on-one classes with Shannon. And that's why I say that it's so different because for me, I didn't think, I'm just going to, I think as a man, I will say this, as a lead, it's a little bit harder to just go out there and learn because
absolutely
it's so scary to just be on the dance floor and repeat the 1 to 3 moves that versus I've gone with girlfriends that just go and men just take them out to dance, even if they're beginners, and they'll get taken out to dance frequently.
Yeah.
But as a man, you have to lead, so you have to take follows out to dance. So it's a little bit different. So I definitely felt that I needed to take the classes to learn. So that's why I'm saying that we just went through a completely different journey.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still believe that the way that you dance, I'm always telling you, Abby, you're great. You're a fantastic dancer. I don't know what you're looking at, but maybe you see things that I'm not seeing. But yeah, I think that is awesome that you went that route of the self-taught, because like you said, I think it is a category of its own. And I guess this is a good opportunity to talk about how you and I started creating some content together, because we saw the opportunity to do the content. I remember I was watching, once you get into the dancing space, your algorithm becomes all of that. And you start learning about the socials, and you start learning about the different moves that you can learn. And I remember thinking, well, if I want to speed up my process, right, I need to be practicing just outside of my one-on-one with Shannon. So I remember watching this video, this couple where they just had a beautiful background, like a city in the background. It was dark. And I remember I was thinking, should I send this to Abby and just ask her like, hey, because you're also very active on socials.
Yes.
And I remember thinking, should I send this to Abby and just ask her if she wants to do something like this? So I sent it to you, and immediately I sent like a long explanation of where I was coming from. And you were just like, all right, let's do it. Typical. I feel like you're just like to the point. If you see something that you like, or you're 100%, you're just like, all right, let's do it. So long story short, yeah, we've been doing some content. We've been meeting like every week. And I never thought that it was going to be tricks. Like that's kind of what we've been doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, tell me a little bit more about your content, your brand, and what inspired that? Because I know you told me that you just recently started pouring more into the Instagram, but you started on TikTok and kind of grew that to 10K plus. But yeah, where are you at now with the content, and what inspired that?
I've been wanting to be a content creator since I was like in high school. I would like film videos in my room, never post them. And as I got older, I would kind of do the same. I would test things out and nothing would really land. And then, you get the doubts and nobody cares, or, is this what I really want to do as, my niche or whatever. And I know that the salsa community is growing, and I was already salsa dancing regularly and getting ready for salsa regularly. So as far as like the idea for Salsa Fit Check, I don't remember exactly how that came to mind. But it was nothing special. Like, I'm pretty sure I was just like doom scrolling on my couch, and like the idea came to me. I'm like, well, this is something that I'm already doing all the time. Like, this isn't something I would have to think about of like, oh, what am I going to post today? Or what is this going to look like? Or whatever. It was just an idea of like, I'm already dancing. I'm already getting ready and, putting outfits together, which is something I enjoy. Why don't I just start posting it and like figure out this little format that works? And so I got the idea of like the Salsa Fit Check and doing, like showing it off, having someone come in and like do a spin and then get off, and then sharing the location, because I also wanted it to be a way of sharing where these socials are at, because I think a lot of people have questions of where do I dance? Where do I go? What do I wear? What is the vibe here? And I feel like Salsa Fit Check is a very simple way to get so much across in one video. You kind of see the ambiance of the place, the background, which kind of gives you an idea of the vibe. And then you see my outfits. Sometimes they're more casual, sometimes they're more elevated. So if you're a girl and you like fashion, or you're wondering what to wear, hopefully it's to inspire you, like, oh, I can wear this out dancing. And then of course to also learn, oh, these are where the socials are at, like that place is here. And, in my captions, I always put information about who the host is, how much the cover is, who's the DJ, and just a bunch of info. So it's like in one video, you're getting all the information you need, but in a new way, in a way that feels genuine to me, which is, dancing because I love it, but also fashion because that's the other part that I really love. So to me, it just kind of made sense to start sharing that, and it actually worked. It's actually a format that's been performing pretty well and regularly. I think a lot of people, well, I'm finding that a lot of people actually want to be in my fit videos. They'll send me messages like, "Oh, can I be in your next one?" or this and that. And that's fun, to start building the community, even my own community of like friends in the dance scene in a new way, seeing that people want to be a part of something that I'm creating. And also just bringing awareness of the salsa scene in a new way. And I've heard a lot of feedback from people who have been in the dance community for a long time, like, this is a really great idea. Like, I've never seen anything like it, and we're really enjoying it. People look forward to seeing the videos, and it feels like something is working, and I feel like it's working because I'm not trying to make it work. It's like I'm living my life the way I'm living it, and I'm just showing this little piece of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really enjoy your content, and I see the effort that you put into it.
Thank you.
I remember when I first saw you at the Victorian in Santa Monica, and I think you were recording one of your videos. You were the only person that I had ever seen with the tripod out and like a big old, not big old light, but it's so bright. And
it is actually very bright for how small it is.
Yeah. And then it's a darker environment, so you can really see it. And I remember thinking, that's pretty cool, because I had never seen that before. Even though I had been in the dancing salsa space for very little, I had gone to a lot of socials, and I did not really see anybody doing that. And then obviously I saw you dancing, and I was still in the come up. So I'll be honest, I didn't feel confident, asking you out to dance yet. So I was thinking, okay, and this is not just obviously about you, but in general with follows women that know how to dance a little bit better. I think as a man, you're just more self-conscious, and you kind of level up, right? Gradually.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, all right, I'm going to keep practicing, and there will come a time where I ask Abby, obviously I don't think I knew your name at the time, but I'll ask Abby out to dance. So yeah, one night I was just feeling confident, and I remember going up to you. You had just got done dancing, and I'll say this, with women follows that know how to dance, they go quickly. Like you have to, if you want, it's kind of like life. That's the other thing I love about dancing and the salsa space and the dynamic between follow and lead. It reminds me a lot about life. If you want something, you got to go get it.
Yeah.
And I was out there, and yeah, you get picked up pretty quickly because there are a lot of good leads out there that want to dance with you. And I remember just like kind of like scoping it out and like wait until the perfect time. I think I ended the song a little bit earlier, because like sometimes you have to do that when you know you want to dance with someone specifically that gets picked up a lot. So yeah, I remember going up to you and we danced. I don't know if you remember like our first dance together.
I think so. We were by the door, like the door that goes to the outside of the Victorian.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, yes. I do remember.
By the DJ booth, kind of close to that and the door. We danced, and I remember just having a really good time. And I was like, yeah, she's cool. I've seen her do the content. I'm going to see if I can find her on social. After that, I started seeing, obviously, like I said, my algorithm just became that. And I started seeing Salsa Chronicles. I started following Nicole and the Victorian. And I felt like you were just like all over the place, collaborating with these accounts. And I found you and I followed you. So that's a little bit of the, background story of how I approached you and we danced together. But I've been enjoying your content, like I said, and I think it's cool that you're bringing so much awareness to you tackle so many things. Like you said, you show the fits, you show the plays, you also show a little bit of dancing, and then you also make it interesting for leads, because I recently saw your latest video, I think at Members, and either the latest one or second to last, I don't remember, but this guy did a really cool move, even though it's like you dance for maybe like 6 to 8 seconds or less, I don't know. there's times where like the leads really do a cool move. So I like screen recorded it and I'm like, oh, I'm going to learn this one.
Oh,
So I
nice.
think, there's that too, where you can learn a move. And yeah, I just think it's cool how you package everything together. And also, I think I told you before when we met for the very first time, having dinner, I told you that I feel like when I get into these different activities, to me, sometimes it feels like, wait, do I think that this is exploding or not exploding, growing because I'm finally in this bubble and I'm like, seeing it for the first time, or is this actually growing?
Yeah.
So when I met you and you told me, oh, I've been in this for 8 years, I was like, okay, she's the perfect person to ask. And I remember asking you, Abby, have you actually seen the salsa community grow in the last years, or this is just me being new to it and kind of like mesmerized by everything?
Yeah.
What have you been seeing as the years progressed? Is the salsa community, is salsa as a genre in general, and the content creation around salsa been growing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember when I first started out and I was, going to the Lighthouse Cafe, and that was really the only place I knew. I never danced with anyone my age. They was all older people. And even when I got into more of the salsa community 4 years later, salsa was still a little bit of an older crowd. I did take 1 year where I mainly danced bachata, and that was a good mix of like younger people and older people. But I feel like the salsa crowd was still a little bit more on the older side. There were a couple, but nothing compared to what it is now. And I feel like within the past, I want to say just maybe even 2 years, maybe even sooner. I think Bad Bunny's album had something to do with it. His album was very salsa heavy, but also because more it is growing and more people are posting about it, it is just naturally growing because more people are becoming aware. They see that it's, a fun hobby, something different to do. It's active, but you're also learning something. I think people really enjoy that, like challenging themselves, because it is a challenge. It's not something you can just kind of do,
Of course.
Unless you're me. Not just kidding. But
She's also humble, by the way.
actually, I know a lot of self-taught dancers. I thought I've met a few and they're really, really great dancers. So it is possible, but it's just not as easy. But the community has definitely grown and shifted to like a younger crowd. Now you see a lot. I feel like it's almost the older crowd is not as prevalent like in the scene. They're definitely still there, of course. They're not gone. They're not going anywhere. But I just feel like the younger crowd is definitely becoming more prominent in the scene now. And it's really interesting to see that shift because it just feels like it happened recently and really, really quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I'm a business owner, so whenever I get into these different bubbles, my head just starts working around starting to pick out what does this community, what does this industry have from a business perspective. You start to see the shoe companies, you start to see the clothing companies, you start to see the people that throw events, the influencers. And to me, all of that is interesting, right? And I've shared with you how, for me, again, starting not too long ago, I'm the type of person who does a lot of things and I go through phases, and I'm just hoping that this phase of salsa is something that can remain. But in order for me to do that, I have to really look at all my interests and try to see it from like the business perspective, the relationship perspective, just like friends, and I think the content creation side of things, how does that work and fit within my brand? All of that, right? Yeah. So I think that it's cool to see you also tap into, I know you shared with me that eventually you would like to be the type of person that can bring awareness to all these social to all these socials. And that's the reason that you tag and collaborate with these places. And you're already going to so many a week. And I do see you share with me the story of your friend that went to Colombia, which I think is a sweet story. What's your friend's name?
Mila and Dylan.
Yeah,
Yes.
so you share the story of how they started hosting a salsa social at Planta in Marina del Rey.
Yes.
And they have this cool organization in Colombia
Yes.
that they help dogs.
Yeah,
Is it
it's
just
called the
dogs?
Flaco Project.
The
And
Flaco Project.
it's actually not just dogs.
Okay.
It started because of Flaco, which was a dog that they found who was really not doing well.
Yeah.
And they wanted to help it. They tried, and unfortunately, Flaco didn't make it. So they started this foundation in Colombia to, like, in honor of him, but to
Yeah.
help the dogs out there in Colombia. So yes, it's mainly dogs, but from what I've heard, it's also cats, chickens, and goats,
Wow.
and any animal, I think, is their goal. Like if they need help, they want to be able to help them. But it is called the Flaco Project, and their logo and their symbol is a dog that looks like Flaco, who unfortunately didn't make it, but now will hopefully live on through this organization for a very, very long time.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Good cause. And I remember seeing the flyer for Planta for the very first time, and I saw a dog, and I thought, who, like, this didn't make sense to me. It had not clicked for me.
Yeah.
Because for the people that are new to all of this, you pay a cover when you go to any social, and for the class and for the people that are hosting, it's typically between 15. I've seen it, the highest I've seen is $30, $15 to $30. But what they did is that they use, again, we don't know, and I think I asked you, but you don't know also, which is okay. They use some or all of the proceeds to help these animals in Colombia.
Yes.
So I think that is pretty cool. And it's something that, again, you started to bring awareness to all these causes and all these businesses as well. And I think that's just cool that you're implementing so many different things into your content and inspiring people like me to also just kind of see the good in all of this. Because sometimes you might see that it's just like dancing and, fun and meeting people, but there's actually people with goals, businesses, organizations behind all of this who might be doing it for a good cause. And I think that is something cool, because I had not seen something like that before, where it's social, and I've gone to plenty of businesses where they do something for a good cause, but maybe there are. I don't know.
Well, there's that one, and there's also Mama Juana's. So
Okay,
Mama
that's for a good cause too.
Yes, so they do pay their band members and the security, whoever's there, but I believe any money left over also gets donated to, I believe, some organization around cancer.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I'm not 100% sure exactly where it goes, but a lot of their money goes to also a foundation for cancer.
Gotcha. That's cool. Okay, so I want to pivot to how, because I'll be honest, when you told me how often you dance, and when I've had my weeks where I really push, I see you everywhere. And me coming from a fitness, health world as well, I've seen the sacrifices and the work that I've had to do to maintain that lifestyle. And I not only dance, but I also exercise, and, I have a social life and family and whatnot. So I was thinking, how does Abby do it? And I remember asking you the very first time, so like, okay, how do you do it to dance so much? What is your recovery routine? What is, like, you seem pretty fit and healthy. But yeah, share with us, how can one sustain this type of lifestyle when all the socials, for the most part, are late at night, and you do sacrifice a lot of sleep, unfortunately.
Yes, you do. I'm tired right now. I do remember you asking me that, actually, the first time we met. And well, firstly, I'm lucky to be able to start work at a later time. So I think that helps. I start at 10. So that definitely helps. But I'd say the way that I sustain it is you kind of have to make sure you're doing everything else too, outside of dance. So eating healthy, working out. Is salsa dancing also a workout? Absolutely. It is a workout, but it's more cardio based. So, the way I really kind of handle it is, I work from 10 to 6, I come home. Ideally, I will meal prep on the weekends so I don't have to worry about cooking throughout the week. But if not, I don't go crazy with my meals, so they're fairly simple. So I'll cook like a homemade meal. I think home cooked meals are ideal. And I'll either eat first, depending on how hungry I am after work, and then work out, or I'll work out and then eat after. But I keep my workouts simple. I used to be like a really crazy gym rat. I was in the gym lifting heavy 7 days a week for like 2 hours, like that. Wow. I was like on my grind. But that's just one, not sustainable. Not even then, it really wasn't sustainable. To me, I just prioritize intentional movement now, whatever that looks like. I listen to my body. I do try and weight lift a couple times a week at the very least. But I also, as dancers, we need to stretch and stabilize our other, smaller muscles too. So I also started incorporating yoga or like mat Pilates. And I just focus on doing at least 30 minutes. If I'm moving my body for at least 30 minutes intentionally, at least for me, that's something that I found really, really works, where I can still see results on, muscle gain and tone and flexibility and all of that without burning out, because it's just 30 minutes of my time, but I take those 30 minutes very seriously and very intentionally. And then on top of that, I know I'm going to be dancing for 2 hours later. So, that's also a workout in itself. As far as like when I get home after dance, well, before I even get home, I am someone who shows up early, leaves early. A lot of my friends show up late, leave late. They're like, oh, I missed you. I was like, I was there, but I was gone when you were getting there,
Yeah.
I show up early and I leave early because I know I prioritize my sleep. Even now, I'm not getting the full amount of sleep I would like. I would like 8 to 9 hours. Right now, I'm getting about 7 to 8. But I show up at 10. I leave by around 11:30. And it does take me a while to wind down after dance. I'm sure you understand that. I've heard it from a lot of other dancers. It just takes them a while to kind of like wind down and get into, okay, it's time to go to sleep. So I do kind of have a little routine. I get home, I'll eat a snack if I feel hungry, but I try not to eat that late, but I will if I have to. Shower, and then I get in my foot massager. My sister got me this foot massager for Christmas, and I thought, if all that pressure after being on my feet for like 2 hours, I'm like, that's going to hurt. Like, that's not going to feel relaxing.
Yeah.
And it kind of does hurt. I'm not going to lie. It's not the most relaxing, but it actually does help. So I'll sit in that for at least 30 minutes. In those 30 minutes, I'm usually editing my Salsa Fit video. And then I'll take like magnesium to kind of help my muscles relax. And it's just a part of the routine. So your body gets used to the routine, like, okay, we're going to sleep. And then hopefully if I wind down quickly enough and do everything and don't doom scroll too much after getting home, then I'm in bed by 12:30. And then I wake up at 8:30. So that's about 8 hours of sleep. So that's kind of how I'm able to maintain going out multiple nights a week, because it's hard sometimes to only stay for an hour and a half. There are definitely times where I'm like, I'm not even tired. Like, I can dance all night and I'm having so much fun and I'm just on fire tonight. But I have to tell myself, like, you need your rest. That's also very important, or else you're not going to want to dance tomorrow. And I know I'm going to want to dance tomorrow. So yeah, that's kind of how I balance it all.
Yeah, that is very helpful, because as I mentioned, I'm new to this, and slowly but surely, I started with one social, right? I was like, oh, I only know about this. Again, once you start getting deeper into this world, then you start making friends and people start showing you, hey, come to this one, come to that one. And all of a sudden it's like, man, if I wanted to, I could go out every night. And we're in LA, so it's a big city. There's always something happening. And I had no idea this was this big. So there's definitely one social every night, and you can do that. Currently, I'm not at your level, but I am going out probably like 3 times a week, sometimes 4 if I really push it. Okay. And I think, I'm fortunate enough too that I can be flexible with my schedule, but the body feels it. I've really had to make sure that I continue my healthy habits. Yeah. I post on my stories, but my sauna is key for me. My stretching, like you mentioned, every night, taking my vitamins. And I think most importantly, just eating clean, like continuing your healthy habits, because it's not just, what's that?
Water.
And water. Yes. Hydrating. Yeah. I love it. This is so good. I want to talk a little bit about how you see dancing as part it seems like dancing is part of your identity. You know, when I go to your Instagram, to me, that's what I see. You know, Abby is the salsa dancing queen, and that's how you are becoming known. How does that make you feel? Because as I've gotten to know you, you know, you're so much more than that. And I think sometimes social media can make us feel that, okay, what people are saying about me, this is who I am. But I feel like you're also very, as I've gotten closer to you, you're very grounded in who you are. And you've shared with me how, you know, in this stage of your life, you become more aware of, just more grounded in your qualities. How does it affect you just putting yourself out there as, you know, this person, but in reality, you're so much more than that?
I feel like it is obviously very much of my identity. It's not my whole identity. There are so many layers to who I am, especially in creative pursuits. You know, I'm so much more of a creative than just dancing. But when I started 8 years ago, I would have never guessed like, oh, I'm going to be doing this for 8 years. And it actually wasn't until last year when I thought, you know, something happened. I thought I was going to lose my love for dance, mainly salsa dancing. And honestly, that kind of broke my heart a little bit. I was like, and it wasn't until that moment when I thought, oh, this is something that means a lot to me and is probably going to be in my life forever. So when I made that realization, it wasn't until after that realization that I started creating the Salsa Fit Check videos. And like I said, when that idea came to mind, I'm like, this really is how I'm living most of my daily life. And, you know, I thought about making fitness content and health content because that's also something that I do regularly. You know, that is so much of who I am as well. But again, this is just not that health and fitness aren't my passion, but there's a lot of people doing that already. And I realized how important salsa was to me. And so when I started creating content, I'm like, I've already been doing it for 8 years, just not really documenting it. I'm probably going to be doing it for much longer than that if I've already done it for this long. So the fact that it's like the most prevalent part of my identity, I think it's fine by me, because those who know me, like you know that I'm more than just salsa, but I'm okay with people online knowing that, oh, you know, she's the Salsa Fit Check girl or whatever they know me by. But I think that, you know, even showing up as a dancer, you also have to, I think dancers know it's like you do so much more than just dance to be able to dance, right? You have to take care of your body. You have to take care of yourself, emotionally, mentally, to be able to show up and, you know, do this on a regular basis. So the fact that, you know, this is the larger portion of my identity, I'm very comfortable with that, because, I not until recently, I didn't realize how important it was to me, and that I had already been doing it so long. I'm like, this is probably not going anywhere. And I don't think salsa is going anywhere. You know, even if I take breaks, even if I step away for 6 months to a year, which I have done, by the way, I have taken breaks where it's like, I don't dance for 3-6 months and I come back, it's not going anywhere. So I think it'll always be a part of my life. And that idea doesn't scare me.
It seems that you handle negative comments or criticism on social media really well. You've shared with me a couple of stories of, you know, when that happened and how you brushed it off and you just made fun of the moment. And
well, to me, it's just like, it's more of a reflection of the other person. And I know that sounds like cheesy and corny, because a lot of people say that, like, oh, it says more about them than, but it's so true. You know, when I've gotten to the point where I am very comfortable with who I am, what I like, what I do, that anyone who has anything negative to say about it, I'm like, that's fine. You only see what you think you know, and you don't actually know me, and you're probably going through something way worse than I am to have to say something negative like that. So, you know,
I'm glad that you have that perspective, but as you know, not many people deal with that well. And I think that oftentimes prevents people from being creative and stepping outside of their comfort zone or putting themselves out there on social media.
Yeah.
What do you say to people who want to put themselves out there either through creative pursuits like we're doing on social media and posting their dancing videos? Again, you have a great following on social media, and I'm sure some of them think, I wish I could do that. I wish I could just like put up my tripod in the middle of the dance floor with a big old light, record myself, whether it's dancing, outfits, my story, how I'm learning to dance. But they can't because they are afraid of criticism. So to any aspiring either content creators or dancers, how can they deal with that criticism?
Go to therapy.
I laugh, but I mean, it's true.
It's true. It really is. I did do a lot of talk therapy, and you just get to a point to realize, or at least I did. It's like, and it's really hard to talk about this because it all really does sound corny and cheesy, but it's like, you only get one life. Who cares what so-and-so is talking about? Like, or looking at you, record your video. Like, who are they? You know, if they mattered, then they would support you. And if they didn't support you, then why should they matter to you? You know, but I know it's not that easy for some people. A lot of people have a lot of anxiety. A lot of people stress out. And not to say that I don't, like, you know, there's sometimes I post videos, I'm like, who even cares? But it's like, but you care. So do it. You know, if this is something that you like to do, that you enjoy, then that's all that matters. Do it for you. Don't do it for other people. But I know it's a really hard hurdle to get over. I struggled with the same hurdle. But you really kind of just have to tell yourself, like, people are honestly thinking more about themselves than they are about you in the first place. Like, everyone's living in their own world to begin with. Like, think about every time you see someone recording and like are actually judging them. And even if you are, what impact does it actually have on them or you? You know, it's like a passing thought, and then what? The world keeps on spinning, you know? So it's like, let the world spin, do what you want, and go spin on the dance floor. I don't know. Like, I love it. I just got to a point where I'm 30 now, and I spent 30 years not pursuing a dream that I've wanted since I was in high school. And I'm just like, screw it. What do I have to lose? Whether I pivot, whether it stays in salsa forever or it turns into something else, like a clothing brand or something, you know, like it's all going to happen. It's all going to work out. Where you're meant to be is going to find you. If you just take action and do the things that your heart is calling you to do, and just, that's all you have to worry about. Don't worry about anybody else. Yeah, that's helpful and inspiring. You're not just in the dance world socially, and you gave a little hint right now, but you also see opportunities. One opportunity that you shared with me that I've been doing my very best to push you towards. Yes, you do. is, I'll let you share it. But before we do that, because I feel like it will help us even more to get in the vibe, in the energy of like, this is who I am. Yes. And I represent the brand. You represent the brand. Yeah. In alignment with the fit checks. Yes. Abby and I are both going out to dance tonight. We're not going to the same place, but you do have a fit prepared for us. So we'll take a pause. We'll do a nice little fit check, outfit change. Before, I think it's important to say, like, this is something I would wear out to dance casually. This is something I would wear out to the promenade, maybe the Victorian, because it is more chill vibes. I would definitely wear this dancing. Yes. But I do have what I'm going to be wearing tonight. A little more elevated? A little bit. It's literally just changing the bottoms, but it does bring a completely different vibe. And I would go like this too, to something casual. Yeah. I mean, I have the shirt Salsa pa la gente, but when I do want to elevate it, and I will elevate it too with you, I do put something different. So let's go change. We'll come back and you'll guide us through the fit change. Okay. Wow. All right. And we're back. All right. Guide us through the fit. That's a great fit, I will say. Thank you. So is yours. We're unintentionally matching, actually. Yeah, this is unintentional. That was not planned. The outfit change was planned. The matching part was not planned. But this is actually a dress. Okay. The skirt is actually like, I think it's a swimsuit cover-up. Really? Yeah.
Interesting.
But that's kind of my vibe. I like to take things and wear them in different ways if I can. Some things I will wear them as they're intended to be worn. Most of the time I do. But I think when you go out so much, you kind of run out of. There's only so much clothes I can fit in my closet,
Of course.
so much money to buy all the clothes, right? So I like to try and take things and wear them a different way. As much as salsa is playing on the dance floor, with your partner and connection and the music, I also take that approach with my clothes. And I try and play with my clothes. There have been times where I wear a dress as a skirt, or I use a purse strap as a belt. I've tried all different kinds of things, and it's literally just me playing dress up and
I love it.
and seeing what happens.
I love it.
So this is what I would wear to like a more elevated social. The top is exactly the same, but you change your shoes and the bottoms and you have a completely different vibe.
You definitely know how to put a fit together. And it seems that you are very interested in clothing.
I am.
So, what is the opportunity that you've been cooking in your mind, Abby?
Yes. So I have been in the dance space for a really long time, and I do get ready often and I see what other people wear. I think everyone's allowed to express themselves however they want. But I do go on these, I guess you could say, salsa or Latin dance websites where they sell a lot of costumes or maybe even jumpsuits and stuff that are for dancing. But I feel like there's a really big gap in like a more approachable style to salsa dancing. Or salsa dancing is really my focus. But I would like to fill in that gap with creating a clothing line where it is for dancers by a dancer, where a lot of the things you see online are embellished and have rhinestones and diamonds, and they're more tailored to performance. It's either like very performance heavy type of clothing or like jumpsuits. Which again, nothing is wrong with either of those, but I feel like there's this part that's missing where it's just like a more approachable way to style yourself when you dance. I feel like a lot of girls, they do wear sets and clothes that are cute and are movable in, but maybe don't have dancers in mind, the breathability, the flexibility. If they are wearing flexible clothes, it's like, active wear, which nothing is wrong with that. But I feel like there's a way to combine the two where you can be stylish while also being able to move comfortably in them, with also, of course, like a salsa flair in it, to give some pizzazz. So, but on top of that, of course, I don't think every item would have this, but I would love to create some sort of design or system where people can put their items and not have it feel like bulky or like it's gonna fly out. There have definitely been times where I wear pants that are a little looser, and when you turn, you can feel the weight of your phone or something. I think a lot of people also fear like putting their stuff down for being stolen or whatever. Thankfully, in all my 8 years, I've never had that problem. But, for those who are newer to the scene or maybe just really don't feel comfortable doing that, I want to, in some way, shape, or form, build specific items that have hidden pockets or certain pockets that can hold things, very minimal things. Okay. When you're on the dance floor, you're not trying to hold your whole purse in your pocket, right? But, enough to just make you feel safe and secure while also feeling comfortable and beautiful and sexy.
When we talked about this, you said you would only be doing this, or maybe you said starting with women in mind. Is that still the idea? Just pieces for women?
I think I would definitely start out that way because that's something I'm very comfortable in. That's something I know very well. I'm not a lead. I'm not a man. I don't really necessarily know what men are lacking in that sense. I could kind of take a guess, right? But, if the women's line or whatever you want to call it does well, of course I would love to extend my brand and make it approachable to everyone because, salsa is for everyone. Dance is for everyone. And if I can extend that to everyone, I think it's only, makes sense and is fair.
I'll put you on the spot. But I remember when we talked about this,
Yes.
I asked you, when do you plan on doing this? And you
Yes.
said, I think this is my 5-year goal.
Yes.
And at the moment, I was like, okay, I didn't really know you that well, but as I've been getting to know you, and I told you the kind of person that I am, I
Yeah.
take my friends' goals very seriously. And if I feel that you're genuine about it, but maybe there's just a little bit of hesitation or not knowing what steps to take, I will press on it.
Yes, you
And
will.
yes, and I've been pressing you,
Yeah.
just like planting seeds and questioning you and, providing any help that I can. But yeah, where is that hesitation coming from? And what do you need to get things going?
The hesitation comes from a lot of places. I'm not even gonna lie. There's a lack of just even understanding where to begin. There's a lack of, I mean, I haven't even tried to like put my thoughts on paper, like actually designing my first piece or my first item or that. And then there's also the self-doubt of like, who even cares? Like, people have clothes already. Like, why would they want to wear something I make? Finances. I have no idea how much something like this would even cost. Who do I even talk to about making these things? I have the idea, I have none of the information, is basically where I'm at. So all of those things come from, that's why I haven't just started or even, put it into motion. Because I'm really grateful that you see me as this person who's like, wow, you're such a good dancer and you have great passion. But, of course, I'm like, I don't know how many people actually also see me that way. Like, I could launch an item and nobody buys it, which is fine. I would wear it. But, then all that money and stuff for what? No, whose support do I really have? And sure, I have a larger following on TikTok, but I think I mentioned that's been growing since, 2020. So it's only more recently transitioned into salsa content. So it's like not even most of my followers from there are 100% like salsa followers. It's kind of a random mix of people. So, I think it's all of those things that are just like, I'm just feel like now I'm becoming more integrated into the community, and I'm really grateful for that. But I feel like it would take time to actually build even more a community, a following, people understanding my brand and my style to then want to wear something I make when I do make it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel that now you're going to be approaching it differently or be more proactive about it? How do you feel now?
I think, thanks to you, I will actually try to, my first step, I think, before anything else is actually getting a design down, because I don't even have that. So why go to a manufacturer, be like, hey, I want you to make my clothes, and be like, okay, what do you want me to make you? It's like, oh, I don't actually know yet. So I think the first step is actually creating something like at least a drawing
Yeah.
of my idea.
Yeah, that's a good first step.
Yeah.
Do you have a name? You don't have to share it, but I just want to, do you have a name for
I
this?
don't. But again, thanks to you, it has been something that I have been thinking about more. Like, what would I name this? What would the logo be? Those are things that I actually didn't think about before until you asked them. And I was like, oh, duh. Like, I just have this idea and I'm like, yeah, I want to like make clothes and salsa clothes, and I want everyone to move and feel beautiful and look good.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, name and logo. I have no idea. I've been workshopping some stuff, but I'm also the kind of person, when it hits me, it hits me. Like, there have been, like the salsa fit check thing.
Yeah.
The moment it hit me, I was like, yes,
That's it.
that's going to work.
Yeah.
And then it did. So I know that there's going to be a moment where something hits me and it's going to make sense, and I'm just going to know. And I don't like to rush that process. I know that for myself at the very least. Like, sure, I can start designing and even talking to people, but as far as like a name and a logo, I know that's going to come naturally. And I know it'll come once I start actually putting more energy into it. So we'll see. But yeah.
Well, now I feel that there's something so powerful about speaking about your goals and just going the way. Oftentimes people believe they get stuck in, I don't know how to do it. And more likely than not is because they're not even taking that first step.
Yeah.
And in my personal experience, even if it's just a baby step, like, yeah, everything is in my mind, but do I have it written down anywhere? Have I dropped it inside ChatGPT, any AI, where I'm just brainstorming or I'm bouncing this idea off of someone? And I feel like for you, it was everything here, but none here.
No.
And what a courageous way for you to, because we talked about this and I told you, hey, are you comfortable sharing this? And you're like, yeah, let's do it. So,
well, I was a little hesitant at first, but
yes, you were
I got
a
on
little
board
hesitant.
pretty quickly.
Yeah. But, I think I will say I can speak for myself, but I'm here to support you. And I think now that you're putting it out there, there will be people, hopefully. So if you're watching this, listening to this, and you have any ideas for Abby, because you'll be surprised, like putting it out there. I told you this, you wear a piece. I saw this vision of you where you're on the dance floor and you're wearing a unique piece made by Abby that people are like, hey, what is this? I love what you're wearing. And you just saying, this is my piece. Like, can you picture that moment? Like, I can feel that moment, even though it's not my brand or it's my clothing brand.
Yeah.
But me just feeling that, it's like, I made this. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good feeling.
That's a really cool feeling.
That's a good feeling.
Yeah.
So similar to how you felt about when I asked you, I remember asking you this, would you still go dancing if you didn't have the content? And you were like, I've been doing this for many years. I just started posting about this recently.
Yeah.
I feel like the clothing, if you saw it as, I love outfits. I love fashion. Like, I would still wear this even if it didn't become anything. Like, I feel if you take that approach, I mean, I would love to wear custom, if I was more into it like you, I would love to wear custom made outfits for me, and I would rock them even if I wasn't selling them. So
duly noted.
So I feel that for you, if you had that mindset shift, you would just put yourself out there and like make it happen. But I think people are here to, I know that there are people watching that will support you and probably are already getting ideas of how they can support you. So reach out to Abby, let her know, because she needs the support. But I hope you document it, because again, we talked about this. I think this is what is now popular, like sharing the journey, letting people also chime in with their feedback, with their opinions. I think building with people is cool. And at the end of the day, the people that follow you, they might be your first customers. So why not start getting the ball rolling and get some feedback?
Yeah.
That's great. Another thing, we have about 5 minutes left. I always like to ask people at the end of the show what they're working on right now. And again, when I met you for the first time, I asked you, what is one goal that you have for this year? And you told me, this threw me off. I was like, wait, what? She said,
did it really?
Yes, it threw me off. And I'll explain why. Abby said, I want to be an advanced lead.
Yeah.
A lead, again, is typically, traditionally, the men on the dance floor. Women traditionally are follows.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, of course she would want to be an advanced leader. Something about your personality, I was just like, of course you would want to be an advanced leader. But the reason that it surprised me is because, again, we live in LA. It's, people are more open to different ideas. And I think in the dance space, for the short amount of time that I've been here, I've been seeing more men be follows, and I've been seeing now more with you, women that now want to learn how to lead.
Yes.
Where is that coming from? And tell us about this goal that you have of becoming an advanced leader. Yeah.
I think it mainly stems from, it's kind of my way around being a self-taught follow. It's like, okay, if I learn how to lead, then I'll understand what I'm doing as a follow.
Yeah.
On a deeper level. So that's kind of my first idea of when I wanted to be a lead. Is like, I'll be better as a follow, and I'll be able to actually understand on a technical level without having to take follow classes, how to be a good follow, right? If I learn it from the back end, like what's happening on the other side. But as I kept thinking about it and wanting to do it, it also sparked this idea where so many people have asked me, do you teach? And I say no, because I don't, because I'm self-taught, because I'm not technically trained. But I figured if I, reverse engineer what's happening and learn it that way, that, if I wanted to, I can start teaching and make, side money and help people, bring more people into the community in that way. And then on top of that, I have seen, like you mentioned, a lot of leads learning how to follow, but I haven't seen the reverse, a lot of follows learning how to lead. I know of a few. A lot of them are mainly instructors, so of course they know both sides, but it's not very common to see just like a regular dancer who is a follow who knows how to lead. There's very few of them. And I would just like to be one of them. I think it's really great to be able to have the skill to dance with anybody and everybody. It'll give me this deeper understanding of salsa to be able to do it from the completely opposite end. And I think it will just in general help the community grow, I don't know where or why it's happening. Maybe some women don't feel comfortable dancing with certain men or every man, unfortunately, because not every man allows every follow to feel safe. I've definitely experienced that. So if I can just be a friend and someone who can make other follows feel comfortable if I'm leading, then, I want to be able to do that. I think it'll help create a safe space for everyone, and also just help build the community.
You did not share it that much with me when I asked you, but it's good to hear it because I can definitely see the benefits and it sounds great. I think your heart is in the right, well, not that there's right or wrong, but I feel that that you have good intentions behind it. Yeah, that's amazing. Alrighty. I want to do a final rapid round where I'm just going to be asking you a few questions, not too many.
Okay.
But I want to see if you can, give me like a quick response.
I'm ready.
I only have 4. So,
okay.
What has dance taught you about life?
You really just got to dance through life. Because just like how you mess up on the dance floor, you pivot and adjust and you get back on step. I feel like that's very applicable to life. Life is going to life you and you just got to learn how to dance.
Life is going to life you.
It is. And if you can just learn to pivot and adjust and keep dancing, then I think that is really important.
I love it. All right. What's one thing you're building right now that people should pay attention to?
Well, I think I'm just finally building my brand, online, which, like I said, I've struggled with throughout the years. I've pivoted and done other things. I always kind of knew it wanted to be fashion related because that's just something that I was really passionate about, among other things. But, for a long time, I've always been told that I dress well, I look good and all of that. And I think I have kind of figured out my own personal style, and to be able to share that authenticity, I think, is what really makes people gravitate to a brand. And so, I'm now fully immersing myself into this kind of whole salsa thing and salsa brand and fashion. And I just want to grow that. I just want, I want women to get inspiration from how I'm showing up on the dance floor, because it's not even that I want people to dress like me. It's not even like, when I do create my line, it's not because I want people to look like me and dress like me. I want people to take my clothes, play with it, wear it in their own way, and express themselves authentically with what they're wearing and on the dance floor.
Bachata or salsa, and why?
I get this asked so much, and it's so hard because they're completely different styles of dance for me. Salsa is just, I'm almost getting emotional.
Really?
Yeah, because salsa, there have been, I'm not going to cry. Salsa, there have been so many times when I'm on the dance floor that I really feel like I have just taken like my first breath of air, like in ever. There is something that there's just sometimes there's certain moves that are done with certain people that you come out of it and you feel like a brand new person almost. Like it really feels like a breath of fresh air. I've never had that experience. I don't want to say I've never had it with bachata. I think I have, but it just happens more with salsa.
Oh, your bachata leads right now, like what?
No, I love bachata. It's just completely different. I do sensual bachata, so it's just a lot more connected to your body in a more flowy way, where there is a lot of that in salsa, but salsa is also a lot more structured, and you have to be aware of your spinning and your hand placements and this and that. Not that that's doesn't happen in bachata, but it's just different, and it's really hard to choose. But if I must, and if I was going to jail for the rest of my life, if I didn't choose, I think I would have to say salsa.
Your current social schedule for the week. Where are you going?
It's hard. I could go to all of them every night if I could, right? Continental, Planta, Members,
Okay,
the
hold on.
Victorian,
Continental Monday.
Monday,
Planta Tuesday.
Planta Tuesdays, Members on Wednesdays, the Victorian or Descanso on Thursdays, Friday, Mama Juana's, and then whatever is happening on the weekend. You can most likely find me at most of those. But usually, and these are the three that I try and make it to every week. Is Planta because I want to support my friends and the Flaco Project. Wednesday because it's 2 minutes away from where I live, at Members. And then Thursdays, I've always loved the Victorian. It was one of the first socials that I went to after discovering, or after I started salsa dancing and discovering there was a whole scene. It was Stevens and the Victorian. Those are the first two places I went to that kind of really immersed me into this world. So there's kind of I have a soft spot for the Victorian, and it's a great social. So those are the three that I like to try and make it to every week. Ideally, I would alternate every other Monday and Friday with Mama Juana's and the Continental, but sometimes life just happens. It's also expensive. But those are usually the ones you can find me at.
Last question. If someone is curious about entering the dance world but intimidated, what would you tell them? Where do they start?
Well, I think the answer is different if you're a lead or a follow. If you're a lead, I think you definitely have to take classes because you just don't know what you don't know, right? If you're leading the whole dance and have no idea what you're doing, I'm sorry, but you can't dance salsa. You can dance by yourself. You can dance by yourself. You can wiggle and worm, and that's fine. You can go to socials and dance by yourself. But or try, if you want. But I think if you're a lead, it is important to take classes because you can injure someone if you aren't careful with how you're pulling, how you're turning, how you're doing certain things, figuring out what pressure feels right with that resistance. I've encountered leads who are a little rough and they do hurt me sometimes. And so I think if you're planning to lead, you should take classes. If you're a follow, I think you can make it by without taking classes. If you have rhythm, if you don't have rhythm, then I suggest taking a class. But I think learning on the dance floor is a really good way to learn. And I don't think it's impossible. I'm a testament to that. But, also be aware of who you are. How do you feel comfortable? How do you learn? Also, it's a very welcoming space. I think a lot of people are scared to go. For example, my sister, she just started following and she's like, no, they're going to dance with me. I'm like, that's the point. That's the point. Yeah. You want to dance with these people. Let them know you're new if you want to share that, or don't. They're going to figure it out very quickly. But, that's a part of the journey. Either they're going to keep dancing with you after that or they're not. You can't take it personal. Everyone's allowed to dance or not dance with whoever they want. And it's either way. I've, for the most part, experienced only good things. So I would say don't be scared. I know it's intimidating, but really everyone's pretty welcoming and just wants to have fun and dance.
Abby, thank you so much for your time. This has been lovely. I got to know a lot more about you in this conversation, and I hope the audience got to also learn more about Abby, and I hope that we do this again sometime in the future. Don't forget to give the video a like, subscribe, it really helps out. Comment something that interested you about today's topic, and you know where to catch Abby if you ever want to give salsa or bachata a try, or if you're already experienced, come hang out. We do love going out with friends, so that's always nice when a group of friends goes out and dances together. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.